With eye exam, only $49.99.
In the Senate race, only Coin TV had the pop quiz that had everyone talking.
Real Oregonians buy real products, and they know what they cost. Yeah. So did I.
Both Smith and Wyden, in their acceptance speeches tonight, brought up the quiz.
The people of Oregon have restored the fragile hopes of every student who has failed a pop quiz in school.
For political coverage that sparks debate, watch News Center 6.
Mike Donahue, News Center 6.
Another big step in the mission to Bosnia. The first U.S. Marines arrive in Sarajevo. While at an American base in Italy, military families prepare to say goodbye. This is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening. Dan Ratto reporting tonight from Tuzla, deep in the interior of Bosnia. The Tuzla Air Base is over there a few yards where the UN sentries are walking their guard rounds. Down the road in this direction, the old Ottoman Empire town of Tuzla, headquarters in the making now for 20,000 U.S. ground troops who will come to enforce the Bosnian peace treaty. There is a possible serious snag to the peace process, France demanding that Bosnian Serbs account for 2 downed French Air Force pilots by tonight or else. But the French have not spelled out what action they might take. On the other hand, Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic conceded for the first time that Serb-held parts of Sarajevo will have to be turned over to the Bosnian government. But today was reserved for shows of force and showing the flag.
Dropping anti-missile flares on approach, an American Air Force C-130 landed 22 U.S. Marines into the hellhole that is Sarajevo. They're among advance elements of NATO ground forces coming to help try and steady a shaky peace.
Good opportunity for us. Get over here and do train and do something good.
Most of the Americans will be Army soldiers, railroaded to Tuzla in northern Bosnia. Some C-130s landed here today, too, carrying radar for the primitive but workable airstrip. A Nordic UN unit still controls the tarmac, but not for long. The former Yugoslav communist MiG base is being made into headquarters for the U.S. Army in Bosnia. Near the airbase today, Bosnian government troops paraded in a show of pride. Thousands of Muslim fighters from the battered 3rd Corps were celebrating their 3rd anniversary. 3 years old, 3 years of war. Bosnia's Muslim leaders say their war can stay ended and a peace built only with American help.
We need American troops here to stabilize the situation, to create conditions for rebuilding, reconstruction our state and our society.
A promise of peace that these Americans have come to enforce. A peace that could begin Thursday if the agreements initialed in Ohio are actually signed in Paris.
Most of the U.S. troops and equipment destined to reach Tuzla will be coming by train from bases in Germany. But the eternal enemies of bad weather and foul-ups are causing some troubles with the timetables. Alan Pizzi explains the holdup.
The deployment of the enabling force was supposed to crank up a serious notch today. A C-17 Globemaster, pride of the U.S. Airlift Command, loaded up to bring troops and equipment to the primary staging post in Hungary. But even the most advanced military airlift plane in the world couldn't beat one factor that stalls everything: fog.
We're going to be fighting weather constantly, and sometimes we're just going to have to walk away from the airplane and say, you know, try it again in a few hours.
The equipment Captain Tibbets was scheduled to fly is to improve the airfield at Tezar, Hungary. Senior American officers say without the Hungarian base, the U.S. side of the Bosnia operation would be nearly impossible. The irony of a former Warsaw Pact enemy being so crucial isn't lost on the air crews.
You know, if someone had told me I'd be going into Tezar, Hungary in 1995 delivering cargo, I would have thought they were out of their minds too.
But no one is under any illusions that the mission is all peaceful. Just in case anyone on the ground doesn't like U.S. planes coming in, cockpit floors have been lined with bulletproof Kevlar. The massive lift capability of the C-17 did get some use today. One flight took Special Forces troops into Sarajevo.
We have the capability to bring the large equipment that we're going to be carrying and take it straight in to where the guys are going to need it.
If, that is, the weather cooperates.
The Air Force naturally says the job can and will be done. But officers also add that if they had to pick a month to start it, December would definitely be number 12 on the list. Alan Pissy, CBS News, Rhein-Main Air Base.
Spearheading the U.S. combat force will be an elite unit of Army paratroopers based in Italy. These Ranger-trained soldiers spent this Sunday preparing to leave their loved ones behind for an uncertain future here in Bosnia. With them in Italy is CBS News national security correspondent David Martin.
This time next week, some of the singers and worshipers at this U.S. Army base in Vicenza, Italy will be gone to Bosnia. Whether the service is gospel, Catholic or Protestant, the message this Sunday is the same.
If you look to your left and look to your right, you'll see some people that maybe in a week or two won't be here.
Specialist Dustin Wynn, one of 850 paratroopers who will go into Bosnia, has already loaded his gear. Now he's spending his last weekend with the ones he loves the most.
Hugging, kissing, you know, holding each other, all the kids and stuff, and doing stuff together to say goodbye, you know, that was going to be a little while. So last things that they can remember you by for a while, you know. That way they have that happy thought when you're gone.
An airborne battalion is first and foremost a fighting outfit, but it is also a social unit made up of fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. Today is for them. A day for Lieutenant Colonel Mike Scaparrotti, who will command the first combat troops into Bosnia, to worship with his family and reflect on the chaplain's words.
Maybe as we're about to invoke on a deployment that lasts who knows how long, maybe we can think of it as America's gift of peace on earth.
A day to raise up a joyful noise and to match the tenets of religion with the hard truths of a soldier's profession.
I'm not going by no means looking for anything to harm or to hurt anybody, but by all means, I am going to protect myself. And whatever it takes to protect myself, then that's what I'm willing to do. Change my mind, change my heart, change my soul, change my mind.
Change my mind, change my heart. But unless there's a last-minute change in plans, this train is bound perhaps not for glory, but definitely for Bosnia. David Martin, CBS News, Vicenza, Italy.
That's it for now. From Italy, Germany, Hungary, and here in Bosnia. I'll be back later in the broadcast with more from Tuzla and on some American soldiers we flew in here with today. John Roberts in New York will have the rest of the day's news when the CBS Evening News continues.
Presenting the newest Black & Decker Dustbuster and Morgan the Butler. With twice the power as before, this Dustbuster will pick up practically anything around the house. Morgan, the newest Dustbuster. More power, more pickups.
Viruses, bacteria, even illness may be creeping into your home. Because mice can carry disease, so don't go near them. Put Decon mouse-proof baits wherever mice feed. Like behind the refrigerator. Them fast and protect your family from the threat. Decon Mouseproof. Protect your home. Protect your family.
It's a delightful surprise. A comfortable tradition. A special moment. It's an original, the Whitman Sampler, with 42 delicious reasons to share, each piece with its own little secret. Whitman's, American original since 1842.
How much closer are our precision heads, our innovative lift and cut system? How much better is the latest Norelco? In a word, we've never brought you closer. The Norelco Razor, our closest shave ever.
Good evening from New York. As the first contingent of Marines hit the ground in Sarajevo today, President Clinton stressed the need for commitment to peacekeeping, saying if the United States walks away from Bosnia, its allies will do the same, plunging the region back into chaos.
The slaughter will begin again, and that conflict could spread like poison throughout the region, drawing us in
in much greater risk to our own soldiers.
Joining us now is a person who knows a thing or two about the pitfalls of keeping the peace in Bosnia. Major General Louis McKenzie was commander of UN troops in Sarajevo in 1992, a time of some of the fiercest fighting in the war. Good evening, General McKenzie.
Hi, John.
You came out publicly in opposition to international intervention a few years ago. As the peacekeeping mission gets underway this week, where are your thoughts running?
Well, the big strategic change was the tacitly supported Croatian offensive supported by the Americans, which I'm sure when Dr. Karadzic got up in the morning in Pali and realized that President Milosevic was not going to come to his assistance on the side of the Bosnian Serbs, that really changed things. Plus, America getting the three leaders together in Dayton and banging their heads together until we came up with some sort of an agreement. Those are two major changes, and hopefully now, at least for a year anyway, we might get a semblance of peace in Bosnia.
The British, the Americans, and the French, the three main peacekeeping contingents in Bosnia, will all have to seem like they have an air of impartiality about them. They're supposed to be keeping the peace between all three sides. Is it possible for them, though, in that climate, to maintain that impartiality?
It's difficult to the extreme. It'll be harder for the Americans than anyone because, as you know, there's a parallel suggestion that the Bosnian army should be re-equipped and rearmed, maybe not by Americans directly, but perhaps subcontracted to someone like Turkey. It's going to be rough. Looking at this from the bottom end for the lieutenant or the corporal who's out there negotiating as an American soldier with the Bosnian Serbs to give that perception of impartiality. Not impossible, but it's going to be difficult to the extreme.
We said as we were introducing you that you served in Bosnia, particularly in Sarajevo, during some of the worst fighting in this Bosnian conflict. You have at times had to intervene physically from keeping the two sides from killing each other. Is it possible to interject 60,000 troops between those warring sides and keep the peace, knowing how deep the hatreds and divisions are?
John, the good news is we were trying to do that as peacekeepers when there was a war on. Now we have a semblance of peace and we're sending in a war fighting machine. As long as they don't react, knee-jerk reaction to offensive action by any side or all three sides at the same time, they have a much better chance of doing it than we had. We were a very modest UN force doing it by negotiation with no backup whatsoever. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
All right. General Louis McKenzie, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it, and he will be with us throughout the week as we follow the peacekeepers as they go into Bosnia. In Oslo, Norway today, the Nobel Peace Prize was given to British physicist Joseph Rotblat. The 87-year-old Rotblat, who quit the Manhattan Project, which was developing the first atomic bomb, was honored for his anti-nuclear activities. During the ceremony, Rotblat said the only way to rid the world of the threat of nuclear weapons and ensure human survival is to abolish war altogether.
Oh, well, I'm the kind of light for your holiday list. I'll help you in so many ways. I'd make the perfect gift, 'cause I'm the snake light from Black & Decker. I get around, around, around. I'm the snake light.
If you want relief from minor arthritis pain, turn up the heat on arthritis. Just minutes after applying Ultra Strength Bengay, you can actually see the heat. That's because Ultra Strength Bengay is the strongest, most advanced Bengay ever, and the only one with the powerful heating relief of 3 pain relievers, and it'll last for hours. Try Ultra Strength Bengay and turn up the heat on arthritis.
Now Bengay comes in an easy open flip-top tube, commended by the Arthritis Foundation.
Hey, Remington, shave this.
The newest Remington Triple Foil. The only shaver with 3 micro screens now has a 50% greater cutting rate for a close, smooth shave. The Remington Triple Foil. If you can grow it, we can shave it.
Ma, if you have trouble sleeping, take a Unisom. It helped last time, didn't it? Didn't you feel better after a good night's sleep? It's okay. The doctor said it's not habit forming. That's right. Unisom. Ma, there's nothing wrong with helping yourself get a good night's sleep. All right? I love you too.
This is Dan Rather, CBS News. With American troops aboard a C-130 Hercules. Destination, Tuzla, Bosnia, where next week the mobilization of American forces moves into high gear. We'll bring you this story from Tuzla all next week on the CBS Evening News.
President Clinton asked Republicans today for a spirit of cooperation to help avert a government shutdown before the holidays. The current spending resolution expires on Friday, but the president says he won't compromise on one key issue. The latest on that now from Bob Orr.
President Clinton interrupted a weekend with friends in Arkansas to again blast the Republicans' balanced budget proposal. In a satellite hookup with Florida Democrats, the president zeroed in on GOP plans to replace federally guaranteed Medicaid coverage with block grants to states.
I will not permit the repeal of guaranteed medical coverage for senior citizens, for disabled people, for poor children, for pregnant women. And what's more, it's not necessary. So if they continue to make this a part of their budget, I'll veto it again and again and again.
The two top Republicans responded with a carefully orchestrated sweater-clad photo op. Majority Leader Dole accused the president of playing the politics of fear.
I think he's seized again on some political effort here to again frighten senior citizens and other low-income Americans who must rely on Medicaid.
But as the budget talks drag on, Republicans worry they're losing the public relations battle. In North Carolina last night, protesters heckled Speaker Gingrich outside a party fundraiser. Today, he sounded a note of conciliation and suggested new economic forecasts due on Tuesday may provide room for compromise.
We got to move and not wait. We think it's vital to get to a balanced budget now.
But the president warned if Republicans insist on their spending levels for Medicaid, their budget will go nowhere.
We're going to win this battle. We have to. Nothing less than the heart and soul of our nation are at stake.
While Medicaid for the moment appears to be a sticking point, both parties hint they are getting closer to an agreement. The fact is, nobody wants to risk another government shutdown, especially one which would run into the holidays. Bob Orr, CBS News, the White House.
Vice President Al Gore conceded today that reports of Energy Secretary Hazel O'Leary's expensive overseas travels, quote, don't sound good. But he says she herself has asked for an Inspector General's investigation. The Los Angeles Times reports today O'Leary has spent millions on international trips, more than any other domestic cabinet member. Overseas on the occupied West Bank, residents cheered the arrival of 400 Palestinian police officers in the town of Tulkarem. Israeli troops pulled out overnight. Tulkarem is the second West Bank town to be turned over to Palestinian rule under the Israeli-PLO peace agreement. Thousands of people turned out in New York City today for a memorial tribute to slain Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. The memorial also brought out some of the deep divisions within the American Jewish community over the peace process for which Rabin died. That story from James Hattori.
It was to be a show of unity, the largest tribute in the U.S. to slain Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. New York's Jewish community rallied to the cause, filling some 15,000 seats in Madison Square Garden. Among the speakers, new Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres and Vice President Al Gore.
One day soon, we will reap the good harvest of his life's work.
Yitzhak Rabin never tried to please you. He tried to lead you. That was his obligation.
While the program memorialized Rabin, it also reaffirmed support for the Middle East peace process that cost him his life.
This murder, we don't want to forget who killed and who was killed.
Outside, security was tight around protesters, Jews who reject returning land to the Palestinians.
We are for peace, and true peace could only be had when you don't give in to terrorists and murderers.
Some Orthodox Jewish groups backed out of the program because speakers opposed to the peace plan were excluded.
We felt this is an exploitation, not a memorial, and we don't want to have anything to do with that.
In the wake of Rabin's death, it was hoped Jews in Israel and here in the U.S. would unite behind the peace process and pick up where he left off. But it's clear the divisive issues remain, and that for some, there is still no room for a political solution.
There are many Jews, Orthodox Jews in the United States, who care more about retaining the biblical land of Israel than they do making peace with the Palestinians.
At the memorial, a videotape was shown of Rabin singing Shir LaShalom, Song for Peace. Later, the audience joined in for a chorus of hope that their fallen leader's dream will be realized. James Hattori, CBS News, New York.
Finally, great popcorn from your microwave. Presto Power Pop Microwave Multi-Popper. Pops virtually every kernel. Pop with oil, pop without oil. Nothing pops like Power Pop. That's why it's endorsed by Orville Redenbacher. From Presto.
Salad shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect salad shooter hash browns for breakfast? Vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like
Salad shooter.
Slicer Shredder from Presto.
Helps you every day.
Mailboxes, etc. can pack and ship almost any gift. No job's really too large or too small.
I'm going to put some foam packaging material in the box.
I want to make sure that all of these areas are protected.
We might double box it.
You'd bubble wrap it.
Oh, the bubbles. We'd put reinforced cardboard on here.
Tape it up and ship it out.
We'll get your packages there safely and on time.
I'll have to run over it with a forklift to break it. I shouldn't have said that.
Depend on mailboxes, etc. It's not what we do, it's how we do it.
Meg,
Barry,
look, Oatmeal Crisp has undergone a prodigious metamorphosis.
He means they've improved it.
It's now a veritable cornucopia of ambrosia.
He's saying it tastes better.
They have also augmented its frangibility.
It's crispier.
The big new taste of Oatmeal Crisp with bigger, crispier flakes. Bits of oatmeal on every flake for a better oatmeal taste.
They've accentuated its Epicurean characteristics.
It's really good.
Bingo!
Bingo.
Yes.
The big new taste of Oatmeal Crisp. Oatmeal never sounded so good.
The New York City subway token clerk whose booth was firebombed 2 weeks ago died today of his injuries. 50-year-old Harry Kaufman was severely burned in the attack, which authorities said resembled one in the recently released movie Money Train. President Clinton is standing by his refusal to turn over notes of a Whitewater meeting to a Senate committee. The president told the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette he has a right to a privileged lawyer-client relationship, but Mr. Clinton also said he wants a judge to resolve any constitutional conflict with Congress. The ups and downs of political fortune are the focus of Joe Klein's commentary this week.
We are going to keep our promises.
Remember when Newt Gingrich seemed a fresh new face?
The purpose of changing government is to improve the lives of our citizens.
The President of the United States.
Remember when Bill Clinton seemed irrelevant?
The record we have built up over the last 2 years and the things we're trying to do to implement it give it relevance. The president is relevant here.
Things do tend to change pretty quickly in American politics, but rarely have we seen a reversal of fortune as dramatic as this year's.
In the news, the House Ethics Committee has authorized an independent investigation of House Speaker Newt Gingrich.
We have voted unanimously to hire an outside counsel and proceed with a preliminary inquiry in regard to the course complaint.
It's not so much that Bill Clinton has grown more popular, but look at what's happened to Newt Gingrich's unfavorable ratings. Why is Gingrich so unpopular? To some extent, it's the same reason the president seemed to garner last year. He was trying to do something new and dramatic. With Clinton, it was health care, an ambitious scheme, arguably too ambitious, and the Republicans picked it apart.
He likes big government.
With Gingrich, it's been balancing the budget, another ambitious scheme.
Someone has to stand up here for what's right for America instead of for this exercise of political power.
But with Gingrich, it was something else as well. It had to do with his personal style. Brash, petulant.
He apparently went and took the course on political science about winning the office and then skipped the course about being president.
There's a lesson here. This is a pretty conservative country, but it's not a harsh or a cold one. When you're trying to do something as difficult but necessary as balancing the budget or reforming Medicare, you can't seem too happy about it. Warm usually beats cold in American politics. This is a country of soft edges. It's something Bill Clinton knows in his bones. It's why he continues to be the most resilient politician around. I'm Joe Klein.
Well, it is harsh and cold in some parts of this country. Old Man Winter has made an early entrance in much of the nation, bringing near record cold along with him. Freezing winds blowing off of Lake Erie dumped 2 feet of snow on Buffalo, New York today. The blizzard virtually shut the city down with all non-emergency travel banned. And in just a moment, we'll return to Dan Rather in Tuzla in Bosnia for a final word on today's peacekeeping developments.
The internet will be the
biggest thing since the Industrial Revolution. The internet will be just a chat line for physicists and video game addicts. Someday, your web address will be everything. One day on the internet, the Colonel's secret formula will whiz past the secret formula for Pepsi. What will the internet be? No one knows. But we engineer systems in anticipation of this vast uncertainty. So you can approach it as one huge opportunity. Digital, whatever it takes.
For a conquest like this, you need the cushioning and support of a walking shoe and the nerve to look down. Easy Spirit. Inside's our walking shoe, outside's the whole world.
I can't believe we're eating a prune. We are. Sweet, moist, delicious. You're changing our mind. I always do.
California prunes. Let your mouth make your mind up.
Why is the president so sure he's doing the right thing in Bosnia? And will the troops really be home a year from now? Find out tonight on 60 Minutes.
It won't be long before this once dormant Tuzla Air Base will be humming with activity and bristling with weapons and soldiers as the U.S. Bosnia Command Center comes to life. I got here this morning on a U.S. Air Force flight from Germany, accompanying some soldiers who were a little wary about what awaited them.
Consider this a preview of what's to come this week. An American Air Force C-130 flying out of Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Destination, Tuzla, Bosnia. The beginnings of a massive American airlift aimed at ground zero of the U.S. sector in Bosnia. On board, Colonel Neil Patton, a Texan who commands what the Air Force is setting up for the Army in Tuzla. His cargo this trip, high-tech air traffic control equipment, and a dozen young Army experts to get it up and running.
How you feel about going into Tuzla? I think we're going in to do the right thing. I think peace is the right thing to have, so I feel pretty good about the service that we're going to provide down there. Are you scared? I have some reservations about some of the landmines that I understand is in the area, but other than that, I think the risk that we're taking is well worth the mission.
It's a familiar refrain, sure to be repeated by each and every soldier that enters this cold and hostile place. A mission to accomplish, a chance for peace. But please, God, don't let me step in the wrong place.
This reporter has talked to a lot of American soldiers far down in the ranks these past 2 days. Young men and women whose boots will be muddy, whose bodies will be shivering in the cold, whose lives will be on the line here. The ones who must do the dirty work politicians and diplomats have planned. Theirs is not to reason why. Theirs is but to come and try. As they come, you should know there are three things foremost in their minds. Those three things are mines, the cold, and home. And that's part of this world tonight. Coming up soon tonight on CBS's 60 Minutes, an interview with President Clinton. I'll be reporting from Bosnia throughout the crucial week ahead, including tomorrow on CBS This Morning and again on tomorrow night's CBS Evening News. Dan Rather, CBS News, reporting from Tuzla. Good night.
This is real.
Thank you for
Look out, Vegas.
all the joy of faith. Go Dutch Tree, you were sweet.